All right. You know what time it is. Neil Ratner, Rock Doc here with a story. So, Keith Knudsen, best known for his work as drummer for the Doobie Brothers, would have had a birthday this past week. Now, unfortunately, Keith died at the age of 56 in 2005, and he was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the Doobies. And today, I thought I'd tell you a story about the band's early days that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. All right. So it all started in 1969 when drummer John Hartman came to Northern California to meet musician Skip Spence and play in what was to have been a Moby Grape reunion. But that never happened. Spence introduced John to a friend of his, Tom Johnston, a local Bay Area singer-songwriter. Now, Hartman and Johnston clicked and soon added Pat Simmons, and the Doobie Brothers was born. Now, in the early days of the band, they would jam in a house in San Jose, California. All right, so how did they get the name? Seems pretty obvious, right? All right. According to Pat Simmons, whenever anybody said, "I want to smoke a joint," they always said, "Let's smoke a doobie." And Keith Rosen, another guy who lived in the house, who they called Dino because he looked like a dinosaur, said something like, "Hey, you guys smoke so many joints. Why don't you call yourselves the Doobie Brothers?" And according to Simmons, we said, "What a dopey name." But it stuck, and they became the Doobie Brothers, as we all know. How about that? Right. Okay. Now, Hartman and Johnston were very much tough biker types, and as such, they became friendly with Phil Cross and Gypsy Jack, Hell's Angels from the San Jose chapter. Now, according to Johnston, they used to ride their bikes up the steps and in through the front door, bombed out of their minds and swinging whips. They'd park in the living room. It was standard procedure. Now, I don't know if any of you out there have ever encountered Hell's Angels, but my only encounter with Hell's Angels was when I was living in the East Village of New York in the summer of '69. And the Fillmore was on 2nd Avenue, and a couple of blocks down, the Hells Angels would park their bikes. I guess their clubhouse must have been on 2nd Avenue. So their bikes would be there, and they'd be there in the colors and stuff. Man, they were very intense, let me tell you. All right, so the Doobies, though, soon gained a reputation in the area as an Angels band. And Johnston went so far as to ride with the Angels. And in 1969, he and Hartman actually had some colors made. And by that, I mean, jackets with the insignias and the whole deal. All right, now, their association with the Hells Angels got even stronger when they became a house band at the Chateau Liberté, a dive bar in the Santa Cruz Mountains that the police tended to stay away from. Now, again, according to Pat Simmons, there would always be a contingent of Angels at the club. They'd bring their bikes up, sit outside and listen to the music, trying to pick up some chicks. It was a general rule that a fight would break out, but the most memorable nights featured everything you can imagine. You name it. Screwing in the middle of the floor, guys beating the shit out of each other in the corner, guys just laid out everywhere. It was outrageous. It was great. Oh boy, I can only imagine. Any of you out there ever go to that club? All right. So the Doobies got a record deal, and their first album did nothing. And according to Tyrion Porter, after the first LP, which was called The Doobie Brothers, came out in 1971, the only people who seemed to accept us were beer-crazed bikers. And so it was back to playing at the Chateau. But not to be deterred, Tom Johnston got serious about writing saleable music. And according to Johnston, Listen to the Music was the only song I've ever called as a hit. I wrote it in my bedroom in the house in San Jose in about half an hour, words and all, during the good old days of living off brown rice and food stamps. I called Teddy. Teddy was there, producer Ted Templeman, and I said, I got a hit single here. He disagreed and suggested some changes, but I didn't change it at all. And finally, Teddy had to admit he liked it as it was. Now, of course, the song shot into the top 10, and the Doobies, more determined than ever, took to the road again, and this time with the addition of a second drummer, Michael Hosack, who had played on the second album. And the rest, as they say, is rock and roll history. Yeah, the Doobie Brothers. I gotta say, I never had the chance to see them live, unfortunately. But I think they're still out there, or they will be out there. I think they were out there with a reunion with Michael McDonald. Not sure if that's started up again. If it hasn't, I'm sure it probably will. Maybe I'll get to see the Doobies. Great, great band. Love their music. And that's it. That's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, it's the weekend, and I will have stories at 3 o'clock. iHeartRadio, WDST Radio Woodstock on iHeartRadio, and punch in Radio Woodstock. And you will hear This Week in Rock at 3 o'clock. And I got 2 stories for you this week and every week. I'm going to do a reading sometime during the week, change the day around a little bit, and you know where to find me around the internet. All right. So, as I always like to tell you, always remember to keep on rocking. And I'll see you somewhere real soon. Bye for now.